The Pittsburgh Penguins have made multiple sneaky good signings, and one player in particular that they signed no one saw coming. We're going to break down what he brings to the lineup and the implications these signings have on the Pittsburgh Penguins moving forward. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Penguins Digest, but before we do that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 68% of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to stay up to date with everything that's happening with your Pittsburgh Penguins, go down below, hit that free subscribe button, and you get to stay up to date, again, with everything Pittsburgh Penguins. This is the place to be for all your daily Pittsburgh Penguins content. But Mark, let's get right into it. The first signing we're going to touch on is one that nobody really saw coming, but it's actually a fantastic fit. I'm a big fan of it, and it is Parker Wotherspoon from the Boston Bruins, and he just has a Boston Bruins type name, so it was very interesting to me that he is no longer with the Bruins, but will be joining the Pittsburgh Penguins on a 2-year, $1 million contract. Great value for what he brings, and he's basically a 28-year-old left shot third pairing defenseman, and he's going to play third pairing minutes, that's for sure. We'll get into how he kind of fits into the lineup, what the lineup looks like. But he did really, really well for the Boston Bruins in that exact role. And he maybe gets a chance at a bigger role with the Penguins. But I think if he were to play third pairing minutes, it would be great. He's a great two-way option, as you can see there. Even strength offense and defense. Actually a really good option. He has a lot better numbers in terms of advanced analytics than a lot of other defensemen that were signed for more money earlier today. So pretty good piece of business to get Wotherspoon at 2 years at $1 million. They needed that spot filled. They got it filled. Nice, tidy piece of business. This is how he fits into the lineup. Mark, what are you seeing from Wotherspoon? They made some other signings we'll get to in a second, some big signings, and they signed a fan favorite as well, which we're going to get into in Phil Tomasino. But what do you make of this move and how he fits into the lineup?
I mean, Wotherspoon coming in, they fill what they need. They need defensive defensemen, two-way guys that can step into this lineup and add a bit of value. But the nice thing is I like these contracts that we are getting given out from the Pittsburgh Penguins, and we'll touch on more later on. But you're getting a lot of guys that are low risk, high reward, that Dubas can once again flip at trade deadline if they continue to want to get more draft capital. Like I said, you do need to add defense to this team. This is a team that really couldn't stop the puck from going in net. A lot to do with Tristan Jarry. But obviously Wotherspoon can't play goaltender, but if he can, I mean, sign me up. I do like this signing, though, getting in this option. He played well with Boston, and I do expect his role to maybe even get bigger from Pittsburgh and look like a sneaky good ad farther into the season.
And I do wonder if he does at some point make his way up the lineup again. We don't know what Kyle Dubas has planned in terms of more signings on the way. It doesn't sound like they're done. It sounds like they're probably far from being done. But I wonder if he sneaks up, into the top four and maybe plays with Erik Karlsson as well. And we don't even know what's happening with Erik Karlsson. There's a couple of rumors right now that he might be traded, so we don't know what's happening there exactly. But I think it's a pretty good value signing. If you take a look at his stats again, I said a two-way defenseman. Only 7 points that he can offer you. He's probably better defensively, which is good for the role that he's going to play. Again, he's still relatively young. He's only going to be 28 once the season rolls around, but he eats a lot of minutes for the Boston Bruins. He was averaging 18 minutes a night as a third pairing guy most of the time. Obviously moved up in their lineup a little bit as the season went on because they kept trading guys, but 7 points in 55 games. So it's going to be interesting to see how he progresses, how he fits into this lineup. But to move on to some other signings, and as you can see here, a lot better defensively than offensively, but can offer some offense at times. But to move on, Connor Dewar, Phil Tomasino. There was a lot made out of this because they weren't sent qualifying offers and they became essentially UFAs. Anybody could sign them. There was a lot of rumors around the league. A lot of people wanted Phil Tomasino, like Toronto Maple Leafs fans, like fans of other teams, because he's a great option. But you get your answer today. They're both signed to new contracts, and Phil Tomasino's contract carries an AAV of $1.75 million. Also 1-year deals for both of them, by the way. Keep that in mind. And Connor Dewar's is $1.1 million. We'll start with Connor Dewar because he's an interesting one, acquired at the deadline last year by the Pittsburgh Penguins. He can play in different situations. He can play lower in the lineup. He can be a fourth liner. He can be a third liner. He can play on the penalty kill. Very versatile player. Mark, what do you see from this player? Is this a good thing that they re-signed him? Because honestly, for $1.1 million, this is a pretty good signing.
I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. You get a Swiss Army knife. He can play in all situations. You probably wouldn't want him on the power play. But if you had to get someone in front of the net, I still think he could put a bit of value there. I think with this, I love this deal. You're getting Connor Dewar in on a prove itself contract. He comes in, he wants to play for the next one. You don't lock up a bunch of cap into a player for a multi-year deal. So I think Dubas is doing tidy work where, yes, the team might not be the most competitive going into next year. Sidney Crosby is going to make it very competitive, but I think filling it out with a lot of these players that have a lot to prove, a lot to give to a roster. They want to stay in the NHL to extend their career and get another contract. I think there's a lot of guys, including Dewar, that's going to make a big push to move up in the lineup, but also prove to him and to Dubas that he deserves a multi-year contract, and maybe we see a career year out of it.
Absolutely, and I think that there is potential for a career year because he was playing obviously lower in the lineup in Minnesota. Then he was traded to Toronto where he was playing lower in the lineup, so maybe he gets a bit more of an opportunity. And if you take a look at his stats last season, again, most of this is with the Toronto Maple Leafs, keep that in mind, but he only played 48 games. He didn't get into every game with the Maple Leafs. When he did come over to Pittsburgh, had a pretty good showing, of course, scored a couple goals right away, but he's only 26, and I think that he can play a little bit higher in the lineup given the opportunity, but we don't know how Kyle Dubas is going to fill in the rest of the team just yet. But 10 points, 48 games. Again, if he takes on a bigger role, maybe he puts up some more points, but we know he can play on the penalty kill as well. But to move over to Phil Tomasino and what he brings to a lineup, obviously he came hot out of the gate when he was traded to the Pittsburgh Penguins. He can play higher up in the lineup as well. I think he needs to be given a better opportunity. A full season with the Penguins, I think, will do him well. He is not even 24 years old yet. A lot of promise, I think, in this player. 24 points in 61 games. I think he can be, a 45 to 50 point player, I think, in the right circumstance. So, again, that could be wishful thinking, but I feel like he can put up those numbers. It's going to be interesting to see what he does, and interesting to see what the Pittsburgh Penguins do with $18.6 million in cap space. Still, you can still go out and make some significant moves, especially if you want to move off of Erik Karlsson as well. But what do you make of Phil Tomasino? I feel like he has a lot to offer yet still as well.
I mean, Tomasino seems like a guy that's almost going to be a staple in the middle six. He could bump into this top six. We've seen him come, like you said, red hot out of the gate when joining this team. I expect him to have a jump. He's not even in his prime yet. He's still a kid looking to find his way in the NHL. I do really Tomasino. I think this is a great contract. Maybe a 2-year deal would have been better suited where you can lock him up through those 2 years so he can grow into his prime for his next contract. But either way, Dubas is not handcuffing himself with any contracts. We have seen him do it in the past, Erik Karlsson, but not going to point fingers on any of these guys. I think it's going to get really interesting to see how he weaponizes this cap, though. 18 million's a lot for teams looking to dump contracts. I would not be shocked if we're seeing a bunch of players join this roster even before training camp starts.
Absolutely, and I think they are, and that's probably the plan, too. If they're not going to add too much in the offseason, add some guys closer to training camp. Healthy competition, see who makes the lineup, who's hungrier. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing either. But you can see here with $18.6 million in cap space, still have a lot of room to go do something crazy if they wanted to, and they would still have a lot of cap space to work with. So let us know in the comments how you feel about these 3 signings. Just a little tidbit here, if you made it this far in the video, they might actually be signing Anthony Mantha as well, so we'll have some coverage on that if that does happen. That is the rumor right now, some reports floating around that. But let us know how you feel about these 3 signings in the comments below. I think this is tidy business, to be honest. But let us know how you feel, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything Pittsburgh Penguins.